You guys want to introduce yourselves, how you got started, what you guys do, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Um, you want to take it away, Michael?
Yeah. So what up? My name's Michael. I go by Blink. Um, I am a digital artist focused on 3D and motion graphics, as well as an agency founder. And my agency creates social AR filters for the music industry. So we do like Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok filters for like album releases and things like that. And we're transitioning into the NFT space just as me as an artist. And, on the back end of that too, there's the business side of it too, which there's just so much changing so fast that, I could say we're doing this one day and then the next day it's like something completely different. So we're in the figuring out phase. But as an artist, yeah, it's been so crazy. I've been in the space for a couple months now. JN and Thank You X, and this other dude, Chris, who actually linked Dusty and I, brought kind of like shepherded me into the space. And yeah, man, like it's just been so wild. Like every day, something new. Like what was it? Yesterday was Pac, the day before it was Elon, and then like it was people the other
Lorona,
day.
like it just yeah,
Dude, it's just so wild, but it's like so
endless.
exciting because like I legit I can't turn off when I go to sleep. So like I don't know about you guys, but I've been having like NFT dreams. Like
Mhm.
it's just all day long, and like my wife's gonna kill me if I keep talking about NFTs as much as I do. But like
Feel that.
it's just so exciting. Like
Mm.
I felt this way when I got into augmented reality. Like nobody was on it yet, and it was really hard to explain to people what I was doing and like why I was going down this direction. But like it feels the same way because now you look at social AR and like from a marketing standpoint, it's built into literally every campaign as far as the music side is concerned, or it's starting to be. And I worked on the corporate side for 7 years, as a designer, and I actually left like 3 years ago. And so I just freelanced for a bit, and then I started my company, and like I've been trying to still build for myself, and like finally I like have that back, and like I'm really excited to work on these pieces every day and work with Dusty. And uh, yeah, it's a long road. It's been a long road so far, I guess, is my whole spiel.
Mhm.
But I'm so pumped like every day to be in this space because uh, it just feels, I don't know, it just feels so genuine, and like the community itself feels like, I don't know, it feels like homey. Like
Mhm.
everyone's so supportive, everyone's here for the right intentions, and when somebody's not, you can smell it out immediately. And it's like, I don't know, it's just this digital renaissance that I feel like we're all in, and we're at the forefront of it, and we're
Mhm.
actually leading that charge. And so it's exciting in that regards, and it's just exciting too from like an internal inspirational side too. Like I just wake up every day so pumped. And for people like me, like I have like ADD, I'm like fucking all over the place all the time. Uh, like this is perfect for me because it's like, yeah, all right. I'm like, I'm making shit. I'm fucking, it's crazy. But yeah, that's my whole spiel.
Yeah, I
Sick.
feel you for sure. I'm the same way, but yeah, for anybody, I'm Dusty Kessler. I'm a photographer, videographer, and director. I'm based in Los Angeles, California, but originally from St. Louis, Missouri. And then my background is kind of just like I've been working in music and entertainment for close to 10 years. When I picked up a camera and started going to shows, like small local shows, and getting that live performance aspect and documenting that, I just something clicked, and I knew I wanted to do that. Um, and so I ended up going on world tours with people, doing all this stuff, like directing music videos now and then, like obviously with the past year being totally like stripped away from me, like me about to like go do like huge tours and projects and work with artists and just do what I love, that was just kind of stripped away from me. And it gave me time to go back into my archive and go find personal projects that maybe I didn't have time for previously because I was grinding and having to do client work, and just constantly having to work for other agencies that I didn't see eye to eye creatively on. And now we have this amazing opportunity, and this is our time to like go back in, find those projects and bring them back, maybe bring some of them back to life or create new ones. And for Michael and I, when we got connected, I had, had these photos from 2015, 2016 that I took in Germany on a tour. And I was like, you know what, it would be so cool if we could like kind of bring these back to life and recreate this energy that I felt when I captured, the photographs. And the scene is kind of like it's like carnival scene, but it's completely desolate and there's nobody there. So it's like, is this, you see the original photos and you're like, is this even real to begin with? And then once that
said that, yeah.
And then when I saw what Michael was doing with his work, I was like, it just clicked. And then it just like snowball effect. Like the idea just started expanding so much. What originally was going to start as, oh yeah, this guy, Michael, he's great VR, AR guy, got good reputation, like makes awesome filters and stuff. It just turned into this way bigger thing that neither one of us thought could happen. And that was really inspiring. It kind of opened my eyes to like other collaborations, hopefully down the line, and like opening this up to the community and letting other people be involved. Because even though we founded it, I was like, wouldn't it be so cool if we can really build this out into something bigger? And we have plans to hopefully do that one day. I mean, it may take time. We all know that the NFT, the crypto art world, and just the buzzwords like metaverses and like all these spaces that are popping up, it's evolving and at such a rapid rate, it's almost hard to figure out what to do next to stay on top of things. So it's like one day in normal life is like 10 years in NFT world right now. So so we're still working through it. We had an amazing experience just collaborating together, which previously I didn't really have a lot of time or even that much energy, or wasn't that inspired to collaborate with other artists. But now it's like, wow, there's all these people out there that I'm like being exposed to, and I'm like, well, this I see eye to eye with this person. So yeah, I don't know where else to go with that right now, but it's a crazy time. I've never been a part of a community like this too, because like I've only been doing this NFT stuff for 3 months now, since my first release was in January of my solo work, and that was with it was photos with like some subtle motion on top of it, with an R&B artist named Miguel, an amazing R&B singer who I've worked with for a couple of years. And that was kind of like my, we sold a couple pieces. I was like, all right, I'm all in on this. Like, this is such a new creative like route for me. And I'm so excited to see where it goes. Yeah.
So that way people can kind of see it. I have it up from like the Instagram post and shit. I'm just gonna hit play on your drop for the Carniverse thing, because I think it's like one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to actually like showcase it. And so I'm just gonna hit play.
That's so cool.
And let
That's
it rock
so cool.
for a second.
Yeah. Savage is gonna reset the room real quick.
Yeah. So this is that piece. I'm gonna actually like bounce through, because I just want people to see like the actual like AR portion of it and stuff like that. Where
yes, that's the master, the Mike the master.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the dope part about like all this too is like, first of all, Dusty's a fucking man. That like, I mean, he's the man. And he has to deal with me. So like, you know, that's no, but like seriously, he was such a great creative partner on this project, and like it grew so much. And it grew into this other thing of which I thought was a unique way to kind of enter the market as well with the AR component, which, you know, look, like for me personally as an artist, like I want to try and find a home for where AR lives on the blockchain, and specifically for social AR. And so, you know, how can you create this creative content that's, you know, an added value to your artwork, but in a seamless way, right? Like how can I look at a piece of art, you know, try it on in the physical space, and then also view it within a metaverse. Like I thought that was really a unique way to do our drop, in the sense of it was a seamless crossover from the drop location itself, which was known origin, then its metaverse gallery in crypto voxels, and then the IG filter, which lived on Instagram, right? So it was like you could become Rupert in the physical space. He came off of that artwork, you become him, and you could also view it from a metaverse aspect too. Like I thought Greg Mike's drop today was like such a great example of that as well. Like they did like a Decentraland event prior to the drop, where they did like actual performance and like a set. Like Nightmare did a set. Like that was so smart. Like I can't wait to see that continue growing in the space. Sorry, my dog's playing with a toy.
I love that I love that crossover now. Like we're gonna definitely be seeing more of that. I feel it's like, I think it's like it started gaining some popularity when like with like Travis Scott did like a Fortnite performance or something, and it was like 4 songs or something. Like they premiered it live or something. But this is like, it's moving so fast. It's like I love it. Like even with our crypto voxels gallery, it's like we were able to include, you know, that was all you too, by the way. That was all Michael. Like, so he crushed it on that.
Teamwork, man.
But you know, you brought in, you know, you were able to include the spatial audio aspect of that. You know, it was really cool to work with like a sound designer and a sound effects Foley artist, who's also a close friend of mine and an amazing producer for our work. So, you know, again, pushing that collaborative aspect of, you know, making doing collections and releases is so important. And I think it's easier now, you know, just like it's easier now than ever to just connect with amazing artists and just start spitballing and bouncing ideas off of each other.
Yeah, I thought you guys like your stuff was awesome, so that was why, you know, I kind of wanted to get you guys on. And so it's like I feel like, you know, VR is cool, but like AR long term is like really where my brain is at, because like VR, like you got to be in like a safe space, you know, like I can't do it in my living room. I got a table, I got him sleeping, he's gonna
or
be
you're
on the
just
floor. Yeah.
Yeah, or you're just sitting down and you're not getting any movement.
Yeah.
You know, AR is really more like, to me, more interactive. Like I was speaking about this with a friend yesterday, and they were like, well, you know, the VR headsets right now, they can be dangerous. Otherwise, you're just sitting down, you're not getting any movement. It can't be good for your eyes. We know this. So you're just like, but I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. There's yeah, dude, like that's, I think, can I go into my spiel about AR?
Spiel it, bro.
Right.
Spiel.
I don't want to bore anybody. I'm just like,
spiel it,
okay.
bro.
So like, I think
no shilling, just spieling.
No, I'm not shilling. I literally won't even talk about my work ever again, just because like so here's my thing. So I live in this world up in my brain where I want everyone to get to, which is we're gonna be in a world of a Ready Player One situation, right? Where we're walking around with AR enabled headsets or eyewear. And there's going to be this digital world that's overlaid on top of our current one. And from that point, if we start stepping back to where we are now, there's a lot of points that will happen up until that, right? And one of them, most importantly, being that headwear. Now, once that's released and fully adopted within society, there's going to be years of building that digital overlay of the world. But there's companies like Google, Apple, Snapchat that are all racing to build the first AR map of the world, right? And so that means that we're all walking around, and everything that is in your surroundings are all data points, right? And so with those data points, you can put literally anything, any digital asset on top of that within that world. So, there's a great example in London. Snapchat did this one recently where they mapped this entire street, and you could paint all over the walls just through your current Snapchat app. Now, when we get to that point, which is just, looking at social AR and how it's evolved so much from an adoption level over the last year or two, that's not so far off. Like, people are using augmented reality as a way to express themselves specifically on social media. But I think, we're going to wake up each day and we're literally going to pick our augmented reality outfit for that day that represents us. And as we all walk around, we're all wearing different things. And like, me and Dusty can sit across from each other at a coffee table, and he looks like a silly dog, or like whatever he wants to look like that day.
Dusty's a furry.
Maybe he's a furry. I don't know.
I'll take it.
Do you? 2021. It's all good. But like, I'm just saying, like, digital expression is becoming more prevalent, especially, and it's been so fast tracked over the last year, from people just being stuck at home and relying more digitally first than physically first. And so because of that fast track, I think we're going to see some really cool things happen in the AR space. And then, look, VR, I just got an Oculus. And I fucking love it. But I don't know why it took me so long to get it. But like, I just feel like AR is a stepping stone to VR for mass adoption. And people would seem to disagree with me on that, but I think we have to get to the point where VR is where AR is right now. But specifically for the NFT space and how it's developing already, I think you're starting to see that there's a want for more, because we're all creatives, right? And there's also from a societal standpoint, it's like, what's next? And people are looking at it like, okay, well, are these digital canvases? Like, do I have to go buy some? Because people want to put it up, right? That's what everyone's mind goes to, because that's what they're used to. But I'm on the AR side. Like, hey, like, you can still be super digital centric by using augmented reality to take your artwork into the physical space. So I think other people are realizing how not easy but accessible programs like Spark AR and Lens Studio are, which are Snapchat and Instagram, Facebook's AR software. You can build your own AR experiences, even if it's just taking your still, Dusty, or painting, say thank you. Like, you can, at a very straightforward way, take it off the canvas and put it in your digital world very seamlessly on any one of these apps. So once people start coming around to that more, I think AR is probably going to be something that you'll see a lot more within, as like a, as I saw social AR 2 years ago with marketing campaigns for the music industry. Like, now it's becoming like a very much the norm, as you have, like, of course you have an AR filter.
You have to have it.
Like, I think it's going to be the same thing with NFTs. Like, but that's just how I see it. Moving forward, and there's all different levels of that. You look at guys like Artifact Studios, and they're just absolutely crushing it with the capabilities and like the integrations. I think. Sorry, my last thing is that
good,
my last thing is that I think NFTs provide this new transactional format for this future world of augmented reality. I think, these filters themselves can be NFTs, standalone NFTs. Once, companies like Snapchat or Instagram, Facebook build in these, in-app features that attach to the blockchain and use Ethereum.
I'm sure they will.
Currencies. But that, who knows if that happens. I think it would be amazing to live in a world where there's an AR NFT drop, and it's like, just hear me out, like Kylie Jenner has an AR NFT drop for an Instagram filter, and only 3 people can get that filter. Like, right. And then once they get it, like, that's it. Nobody else can get it until they resell it on the secondary market on Instagram. Like,
it's a no-brainer. No-brainer. No-brainer.
Oh, but yeah.
You should just design that for her with the lip kits now, and then sell the idea. Slide in the DM, and we'll get to you right away.
Who's this crazy dude?
I think there's definitely many markets to be tapped there, and like, even when we were originally putting together our filter ideas for our collaboration, Unknown Origin, we were like, what do we do? Like, do we do like a whole, we went back and forth so many times, like, do we do X Instagram filter, this many Snapchat like things, and it was exhausting, but like the end result was like really like great. From what I gathered, even though we didn't utilize Snapchat on this particular collaboration, we definitely are open to it in the future, and they have some advantages. Like, personally, I don't use Snapchat. I mean, I'm sure there's still a ton of people who do. They have great funding, but from what Michael's told me and other people told me, some of their AR capabilities and what they can do are just like blowing some of the other social network, like social mobile apps out of the water. So just for time and energy purposes, like we did the Instagram filter, but I'm excited to see how we could implement other stuff in the future.
Well, and too, like, I mean, I guess it's to your point about like, you don't have Snapchat.
Right.
I mean, look at Facebook and Instagram are a behemoth of a social network, right? So like, more people just naturally have Instagram, and that's kind of, in our case, it was like, what's more accessible to people, because adding AR on top of a piece that people are already like, what's an NFT? Like, it was kind of like, it was like, oh shit, should we even do this? But like, I think we did it in a seamless way. But, yeah. Oh, I cut
out for a sec. Yeah, just for a sec. No, go ahead though. Go ahead. You go.
No, I was just saying, like, the IG filter was picked strategically because it was more accessible to people, and so I want to make it easy for people to be like, oh yeah, I can use an AR version of this amazing piece of art.
Absolutely.
But you're so right, dude. Like, Snap's like crushing it, man. Like,
I know, and I'm excited. Like I'm working on another project right now that's not related to anything NFT stuff, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it's gonna get some visibility on Snapchat. So I'm like, I'm probably gonna have to, re-download this thing that I haven't had in years. But for me, it was just at the time, like, when I was coming up and like having my, photography be shared on a network, and I was working with a lot of musicians and stuff that were, sharing my stuff. It was like Instagram only. And then like everything just, I think the Instagram's kind of gone to shit personally, for me at least, and it's just crazy how, like, when I started just researching NFTs before I even minted or produced anything, there was no NFT exposure on Instagram. It was like, there was like no posts.
And now
it's
Twitter.
It's getting there. It's getting there. Now that Mark Cuban bought at NFT, things are getting a little crazy.
What? Wait, what? What do you do?
Yeah. So Mark Cuban owns the Instagram account at NFT.
Good.
Oh, that's Cuban.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Oh,
of course it is.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even know that. Fuck.
But so now there's what, so now after that, there's like so many more popping up right now. But obviously we know, and anybody who's new to the NFT market, is that how amazing Twitter is as a platform to share and connect with people. And they've even evolved to the point where like they figured out that how many people were leaving Twitter to go on Clubhouse and talk on their network. So what does Twitter do? They say, okay, we're going to do our own Clubhouse now. So now even, they're always competing against each other. It's really funny. Yeah, it's fun to see. It's fun to see real time and see how people react to it.
Jonathan Winbush just hopped in the chat. He said, "What's up?" I don't know if you guys know Jonathan Winbush. He's like a legend in like the 3D space and stuff. And he was actually on with Mixmaster Mike, and so we had like a great chat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
What up?
Appreciate the time.
So like maybe Mike can speak to this like a little bit more, but like I've kind of done like a little bit of research and I've heard talk, right? And so AR to me is like super good because not just can, somebody be a furry, right? Like if they want to, or, wear whatever, right? And everything like that. But at the same time, you can also apply social like metrics to people, right? It kind of like a little bit scary, right? But like you could have like a ranking if you ever have like a bad interaction with somebody, maybe they walk around and you see them, they have like a thumbs down over their head kind of thing, right? Like that you had like a bad interaction, right? Like you can tag people on like I forget what it is. It's RES, it's Reddit something sweet. I forget, but you can tag people as, whatever, like hateful or, misogynistic or whatever it is. And so I'm imagining that aspect, but in a pro, right? Like you could also sit there and be like, oh, like I have 50 mutual friends with Dusty. I don't know Dusty, but I just see like, green light over his head because I have a ton of mutual friends. Me and Dusty are at a party and it's like, yo, dude, who do you know? Like, and you could do it like that where like you skip that, like, oh, like, hey, how's it going? Like, what do you know? Like, it's like, dude, who do we know? Like, or like, can you swipe right? Like, let's see who's friends with each other, right? Like, because that's gonna lead to like that, like almost second level, third level friendship, like right off the bat,
Yeah, instant connection for sure. It's just lowering that barrier of like communication, right? I don't know, some people I that could benefit people in ways that they don't even realize, and I see it happening, even on the apps. I mean, Michael, yeah, you can go ahead and take this, but even on like Clubhouse and stuff, it's like MC Hammer follows me. I'm like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. But so I'm like pinging MC Hammer into rooms that are like completely not even, about anything. So it's like stuff like that. But yeah, I see it happening.
Yeah, it's already happening. I mean, China has this, have you heard anything about the social credit system that they have set up?
You can't get on flights if it's bad.
Yeah, so like, dude, this Black Mirror world is not far away from a reality. I mean, it's creeping up, and I'm excited for it as well as very scared. Like, look, like a lot of the conversation that's happened in the last 2 years within the AR side of things is like, who's the governing system for this new world, right? And like, because there isn't anybody. Right. And like, maybe that's good that it's decentralized, but like, what does that governing system look like? Like, can you just walk around and there's like, swear word graffitis like all over things, like, I don't know how far I can go on this podcast, but
you could say it. I mean,
just say it could get graphic, and there's no
very graphic.
It could get graphic.
Very graphic, very, very quickly.
Easily.
So like, who and what systems are actually monitoring that? And, and if there's a place for us as AR creators to govern that ourselves, like maybe that's something that needs to be discussed and formalized. Like, there's where you're talking about is like, if there's an overall system, like I think what needs to happen first is the AR enabled headwear needs to come out. And then whatever AR system goes into that headwear, that's what we all use universally. But there will be like one-offs, not one-offs, but there will be like other options to use. So say if like, for instance, Apple has headwear, which they're rumored to come out with very soon, that they have their own, you know, AR kit for essentially, which they do. You know, and maybe everyone's seeing it through that, and Apple is the governing system. Do we want that? Like, I don't know. So it goes down this crazy rabbit hole. But like,
I imagine. You just made me realize, is like, are we gonna see, like, remember when like the App Store started and there was like the SDK like developers, like you could create the apps and then upload them to the App Store, like in the early days. You know, like, is there gonna be a new like wave or generation of that to happen for their wearables, which are happening? There's gonna have to be some type of, you know, approval process. I would imagine.
Or they'll just buy out somebody, and I mean,
true. So I think we're gonna see another like cycle of like people creating certain apps, maybe for the wearables themselves.
Internet 3.0, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like all, like, I mean, I think at this point AR VR is like a part of the crypto space, right? And so like that's just, you know, like that's all part of it. I think that the only thing that I disagree with a little bit, Mike, is like long term there will be one winner, but like short term, right, like in terms of coming to market, there's gonna be like 50, bro. Like somebody's gonna walk in and you're gonna be like, you got the fucking AR 2000 still, bro? Like, what the fuck is, you know, like whatever it is, like, and there's gonna be, you know, there's gonna be Google, there's gonna be Apple, maybe Snapchat puts out one, but like, I do think that that's like something that people, I mean, if they're working in a space, need to start thinking about, because, you know, like, obviously there's gonna be some like PG-13 filters and stuff like that, but you know, you still need, like, you can't be walking through a thing and like, you know, it's got Nazi paraphernalia because that's how the person who owns the building wants it to look like, right? Like, that would be wild. Like,
that would be
too crazy.
That would hurt me deeply. But I feel like think about, I mean, Google was like on this, you know, they were just too early. You know, they had been dumping money into like Google Glass and like
I'm getting my spectacles right now so I can show you.
Shameless plug. There we go. Snapchat. Woo.
Spectacals.
Those are fancy. I love those.
Dude, they're so sick. So what you can do with these right now is you can
wear them.
You can wear them. You can take a video and you can plug it right into Lens Studio, and you could actually attach lenses to the world view that you have. It's not super seamless in real time yet, but that's the future. Like, they're essentially building, in my opinion, towards that in a way. But like, I meant more on the back end. Like, there's going to be hundreds of versions of AR enabled glasses. I meant, what are they all piping into?
Gotcha.
Like, are we all looking at the same digital worlds, or is it this, you know, is it different ones for like, oh, like, yo, I'm in Decentraland, you gotta come over here, like
you're in the metaverse,
right? Like, or like, yo, I'm in the Snapchat version, you gotta get this. Like, I feel like, it's just,
I think it'd be cool to have different overlays. You know what I mean? Like from an optimistic standpoint, like, okay, like I'm in the metaverse, you're in, you know, crypto voxel land, like whatever it is. But you know, like from an optimistic standpoint, like, you know, it's almost like going to like have you ever gone to like a silent disco, right? And there's usually like 3 different colors so you can see what people are listening to.
I haven't.
No? So this
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So my friend used to run like events, and then there's a really awesome like bar spot in the city called Ainsworth. And so we used to go in there and like basically have like an unlimited tab for like an hour or so. And so it was like phenomenal. This is pre-COVID and you know, back in the fun times. But you know, so we would go and like basically everybody puts on a headset, and there's like the red team, the blue team, the green team, and like, you know, as you're sitting there, like, all right, like Britney Spears is on, I don't want to listen to that. So, you know, flip it over and like you move over to like the house music instead of like the pop music or the rap music. And so everybody jams out to like their own shit. This is the same thing. Like, yo, you could walk down the street, Dusty could look at, you know, blue, I could look at red, you could look at dog, like whatever, like whatever world you want to live in, right? Like that's pretty dope, bro. You know, like imagine everybody's dog is like, instead of a dog, it's like a frog for you or something like that, right? Like just
It's an
it
actual
almost goes back
ghost.
to like human nature that like people see things differently too, you know, like maybe it is okay to have a whole bunch of different worlds because you get to choose which world you live in. Like that's kind of dope.
For sure. And you bring up the silent disco thing, which to me has always been so interesting because I'm like, I've shot some of the biggest music festivals in the world, and I'm like, I've done like sold out arena shows and like literally everywhere. It's like you name the festival, I've probably shot it. And it's like I've been in certain conversations with people. They're like, well, if we can do the silent discos and people do, come to that and put on the headphones, like, don't you think that they would come to a concert and put on some type of wearable AR, like VR thing, like a snap lens? And I'm like, no, they're not, because that technology is gonna have to evolve, and they're gonna have to scale it at such a large quantity. But by the time they make, let's say you're on tour with a major label artist, which is the only people that would be able to afford this anyway. It's like by the time they would produce all these and then like have to distribute them at a show, and like you're starting to see it with like, I don't know, like any of the like Ariana Grande uses this, or a lot of the K-pop guys use this. It's like the fans will buy like a wearable, like a light up wristband or something, or they'll have like, something that's all synchronized throughout the show. So we've seen a little bit of that, but I just don't see the crossover of anybody actually putting something on over. Maybe it's something that they have on their phone, that they hold their phone up, and then it's like that AR experience. But it would just be so time and costly to the artists and labels, and I don't see that part happening for a while.
Depends on the cost of the wearable. Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was gonna. I mean, there's companies like Wave that does full VR concerts. There's Snapchat entering the space too. Actually, I built this full length song music video essentially as a Snapchat lens for someone. It was 3.5 minutes of like timed animation that was all happening. And this like spacecraft comes down to you and they're like performing in there. It's this light show. And that was built like during COVID as a way to bring the concert to you because we couldn't go to the concerts. And so like there's tons of other options out there too of like
exactly
how to experience a concert. But I'm interested to see how that changes as things start to open back up. And also like, look, like at the same time, 5G is becoming much more realistic as part of everyday, phones with the new iPhone. So like, you can Snapchat, another plug here. They did a full length track as an AR filter as well with this band called the Black Pumas, and
they're great.
It was geolocated too, and it was this like it was so dope. And I wish at some point we'll be able to utilize the 5G aspect, and everyone will be able to experience that, but only people with a 5G enabled phone could. Sorry, but like that too in itself was like a very cool way to watch a concert. I don't know. It's all about that shared connection. That shared connection that I think everybody always strives for with any with any show, and whether it be AR, VR, or wearables. I don't know. There's something real. I went into a set the other day on Crypto Voxels, and like I actually had a great time. Like
that's wild.
It was in like a gallery, and like there was just a bunch of people like dancing, and I was like, I don't know.
Because
like, cool.
They've really had to like, with this huge influx in this, the past year being such like a springboard for like the NFT and like metaverse world and virtual worlds, like they've had to like, their team of people is like one guy, that does Crypto Voxels. So like now even they're like having to like catch up, and they're making it better, and it's gonna look continue to look better. So I'm excited to see what they do. It was really fun to do our thing with them.
They want, I think, to be, small too. I don't think. I mean, I'm not calling them small by any means, but I think
they're not. Yeah,
they want to be like gigantic, or at least that's what I've seen them say publicly. Could be wrong, but yeah.
Jonathan actually really mentioned Eminem did like an AR experience at Coachella a few years back where you held up your phone and I guess it connected. I didn't actually see that. I missed that Coachella year, which is a shame. Not that I went to a ton of them, just
right.
It was like there was like this rocket that like took off and like.
I wish I would have heard about that.
It was through the Coachella app, I believe. Okay. Jonathan, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, you could essentially like point your phone at the stage and this rocket ship would lift off.
Oh man,
which is cool. But I mean, like, how many people are really lifting their phone out at a concert?
How many Eminem fans do you...
I mean, the app was like really, really good. I don't know which year exactly that was. I think I went in like 2016, so I don't know which year he actually was there. So like that kind of depends. But like when I went the second time, which I think was just 2017, I think I did 2015, 2016, or 2016, whatever. But the app is so good because like I hate carrying around like a pamphlet and flipping through. Like, dude, like I set my home screen to like the Friday lineup, and then I set it to the Saturday lineup, and then I set it to the Sunday lineup. But like, we'd hop onto like the app and be like, this show's kind of boring, like, or I'm good with it. Like, didn't you want to see somebody? So then you go back into the app, you check out other things, or just for like the map and stuff. So to me, like Coachella's app was like such a no-brainer. By the way, if you guys ever go, you have to get the lemonade. They like crush a lemon and then throw it in, and like it is amazing. Cause it is fucking hot as balls. I'm not built for that weather at all.
It's a grind.
It's a grind. Story about that. Right before, right before when tickets went on sale, like in 2019 for the 2020 Coachella. It was the first. I've been out in LA for 8 years, and every year I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy Coachella. I'm gonna go, but like I never do it. It was the first time I did it, and boom, canceled.
It's a sign. It's a sign that you should never go. Man.
Yeah.
I've shot it.
Yeah. So essentially, they've got my tickets locked up. I still hope.
Wow, you should make an NFT about that.
For the Coachella that may never happen.
Yes, your RFID, little bracelet that they give you. Yeah, you can make like fake artist wristbands and sell them on on Wearable or something.
Oh man, I mean, there's something to that.
It'd be a good satire, NFT post for sure.
Even non-satire though.
Even not
Centraland. Just Centraland Coachella.
It's definitely gonna happen. I mean, it's on the verge. I don't miss doing Coachella. I've had to every time. I haven't gone to experience it. I've always gone to work it. So it's like I see it from a different angle, and it's brutal. It's brutal.
I feel like you probably have so many stories. From
when you come home, and like people. Now I'll never do another show without wearing a face mask. Like I'll just always be masked up. But like even at Coachella, there's so much dust in the air. You just come home and it's like
you get sick.
It's just like
it's a lock. Like you're getting sick. The dust is getting you sick.
Yeah. For me, you're in the middle of the desert.
Yeah. Dude, for me, like I want to get into Dusty stories. Last thing on like the Coachella thing, but dude, like when I went to Coachella, the craziest thing that I saw at Coachella was like main stage Sunday, last person to fucking play. I don't remember who it was. Not that important. This chick is sitting there with a phone case that fucking lights up, and she's just taking selfies for like 90% of it.
Sounds
it was like
about
a
right.
40 fucking minute set, and this chick was just taking pictures, and I'm like, bro, the show's over. Like, what did you pay? Like, wild. Like, people are just not there to like see the show. I actually Designer had Kanye come out, and they fucking blew a fuse when I was there, and I'm not kidding you. Probably 100,000 people were running at the Designer stage, and it went pitch black, and they like had to like return everything back on, and it was like pandemonium. Like it was just everything like blew, and like sharp noise, and then it was just dark. and everybody was running at the stage because everyone heard that Kanye was coming out. Those are the two things. But Dusty, I'm sure you have some crazy stories too, Mike. But like, I want to hear like
Yeah.
crazy stories from like shooting. You know, like I pulled it up earlier on in the show. Like I pulled up like the Paris Hilton, the Snoop Dogg, the G-Eazy
Yeah.
shot. Right? You have such
Yeah.
sick shots. Like there has to be some fucking insane stories behind that.
Yeah. Well, always, man. You know, it's like it's definitely a blessing. You know, to be able to, you know, do that professionally and just be able to travel and like you just meet all these amazing artists and people and get to know them on a deeper level more than, you know, because I'm behind the scenes, you know, shooting and doing documentary stuff on the road. So yeah, it's I could make a movie about it, you know, like I've been, you know, I was like on the road when I was like still in college. You know, I had I had a photo published in Rolling Stone magazine in print when I was still in college. And that was like the springboard for me. That was like, all right, well, this is like proof that things are like I must be doing something right.
I think I'm good. I might be
like,
good. I don't.
so it was like, I just kind of was like, well, what do I have to do to take this to the next level? Because I wasn't like getting paid then. Like it was just like figuring stuff out. And I got really lucky to like I had a great mentor, you know, and I kind of figured out the path that I wanted to take at an early age. So, and I see a lot, I mean, I see a lot of other, you know, creatives that got their start the same way, you know. And now like I always like make it a point to like try to give back to you know, what would you tell your younger self, you know? You know, what would I tell my 18-year-old, 17-year-old self before I started going on tour and, you know, not sleeping on a tour bus for 2.5 months in Europe and, you know, like doing shows every day. So it's a big passion of mine to like help support younger artists coming up and help guide them too. And that was something that I really benefited from my mentors. So even recently, like my first sale on foundation, I gave all the money back for people to mint and cover their gas fees for their work. And it was a total test. And like we ended up like Blau was the first person to bid on it. And then somebody outbid Blau, which was my goal. I was like, someone has to outbid this guy. And this other amazing artist, you know, outbid Blau, and we raised over $2,000 and gave it back to I handpicked creators, handpicked new artists coming up that I just believed in, and it was an amazing experience. It was like super rewarding, and that's the community building aspect right there, which I'm so excited to hopefully in the future do more of that. And I'm really excited about programs like the 7 Genesis grant, and there's some other grants that are being created for people in the space, and I love it. So if anybody's out there watching this, just know that there's ways, you know, to help. There's these grants out there. There's going to be more coming. And to always reach out to me if you need, you know, any guidance or help in that type of situation, and just sharing your work.
Sorry, somebody's talking in the Twitch chat that they're not saying very nice things, and I'm trying to figure out how to delete the messages.
That's a bummer. I'm sorry to
good.
hear that.
No, not
These
about
people
us,
will
or
exist.
they're just saying they're not about us or anything. They're just saying racist shit for no reason.
Oh, great!
I don't know
That's
how to.
just great.
We need a bot. We need a bot to get rid of them.
I'll cut this piece out. Like
you
sorry.
can. This brings up another important issue for me right now, which is, as we're seeing so many people come into the space, and you know, it's going crazy. There's obviously a lot of scammers right now that I've been made aware of. And I have other artists, like even one of the artists that I, you know, helped reimburse their gas fees and their minting fees so they could make their first post on like Rarible or Foundation or something. They're like texting me like screenshots of like well-known artists. I won't say who, but like well-known artists that are being scammed, like fake accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying, hey, you know, we can get you on this platform for this amount. And I'm just like, I kind of expected this to happen, but it's just a word, like for people that are just trying to come into the space, like proceed with caution and do your research, please. Cause I see so many people just like getting it taken advantage of like left and right. And there's nothing I hate more than having other fellow artists getting scammed or taken advantage of.
Yeah. I mean, I put on something where they can only talk if they've been following me for a month, which whatever. But I feel like as far as the aspect about, you know, scamming and stuff like that, I like the community at this point is so tight that like nobody's going to charge you money to get you onto Foundation or something like that, right? Like the invite only, like nobody's going to charge you money for that. Like even in terms of like, I know guys who like have helped other people get onto other sites and like they did it because they liked the person. Like they did like there's if you're not putting into work, like you're not gonna like really go that far. But then on top of that, like nobody's gonna scam you to get you onto a site. Like that doesn't work either, right?
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't work. But you know, it's one of those things where like I've had this thought where the people who are most likely to get scammed are like the most desperate, right? Like where like if you're broke and somebody's like giving you a deal on something, like that's how like they like really fucking actually play you. You know, like that's, you know, it's a shame, but that's how this happens.
It is.
You know?
You got to proceed with caution. Like there's a friend of mine. Yeah, one second, Mike. But like there's a friend of mine who is a world-class painter. I'm not going to name his name because
shout him out, bro.
He's coming into the space soon, and I sent him a Foundation invite. So I'm like, keep it, you know, we're keeping it kind of like on the down low. But I just like saw the work, and I was just like, you know, I was like, this guy's work could translate so well to the world. And so I reached out first, and I was just like, hey, like, I know you're aware of this thing that's going on, and I know you're represented by a traditional art gallery, but are you willing to work with that? Like, I basically today I'm texting him, like, he's like, how do I, you know, do this on Rarible? How do I do that? And he doesn't speak very good English either. So I'm like, you know, so I'm like having to like Google Translate how to teach him how to like put stuff on Rarible and like how you can post it, but you don't have to put it for sale yet. So it's like a whole, it's the crossover is great because he's one of the most amazing like photorealistic painters I've ever met. So I'm really excited for him to get into the space too. But yeah, it's like reaching out to your like friends. It's like I'm gonna put on my homies before anybody else, you know. Even if we don't collab on anything, I just like consulting. And I see a ton of value in helping brands consult too. I know Michael's been doing that too, consulting brands on how to get into the space. Yeah, it's getting crazy.
It's good though. Like, look, at the end of the day, I think, look, those scammers, or if we're gonna call them scammers, like that's always gonna exist. Anyone who is used to the old format of like value extraction out of people, then that's gonna happen. There's gonna be producers that reach out to you that are like used to working as the middleman for so long to put together, you know, giant projects that, you know, made their money producing, that are now like trying to find how they fit within the space. And like, look, like nothing against those people. Like I have many friends that are within that world, but I think what people need to realize is that this space isn't about any of those middlemen type people. And I don't want that to sound bad, but like, this is just creative to creative. That's it. And there's no in betweens. And if there is one, then run for the hills. And if anyone has any they need any advice on any of this, definitely reach out to me. I can smell bullshit from like fucking like a mile away, and it's easy to like get lost in it and say like, I want to try and fix it, but there's no fixing it. Just recognize it, continue moving, and continue creating amazing content, because at the end of the day, like, we're artists, right? And like, some of it, I mean, look, it's sensitive being an artist sometimes, right? And like that in itself, people try and take advantage of, and that's, you know, just part of the game. You just got to be smart and you know, realize those opportunists are always going to be there. I mean, there is a lot of it happening right now, but I think over time, what will happen is the cream will rise to the top. Those people will get filtered out, and all will be well. But everyone's rushing in, and just gotta like stay on the path that you're on. You know what I mean? But again, yeah, same. Like if people want to talk about that, I'm happy to. Like if someone approaches you and they're like, "I'm gonna pay to get you on," it actually happened to me multiple times.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
Today.
And then something else happened recently where I was like, someone was kind of like dangling something in front of me, and I was like, well, okay, is it a 50-50 split? Because that's also something we should talk about as well, is like the transparency of this collaboration. It's like, you know, if it's not a 50-50 split, then it needs to be very close to it. And if it's not, then I think you shouldn't get in the space. And if you don't understand that, don't come in the space too. Like that's one of the most important things I think artists need to stick to as we move forward. This is not a, oh man, there's this big musician. I know you're an up and coming artist. Like we're going to give you 10% of this or 5%, like, because exposure. You're just this, like, yeah, for exposure. Like if you ever had someone say like, hey, can you do this work for free? I'll tag you on IG. Like it's the same shit.
Yeah.
So like,
they're adapting. Yeah.
Anything that's outside of the conversation of an equal collaboration, both on the split side and on the drop and creative itself, just walk away from it. I mean, that's just my opinion, and I think it's a pretty valid one.
I feel the same way. I feel the exact same way.
But it's something, if we don't hold on to that, can get out of hand very quickly as all of these big names come into the space.
I think that like the only caveat that I have to that, right, is like not in terms of like I'm a much bigger artist than you, so this will just be good for you, right? Like it's more where like if you're gonna come to market already with like a piece in mind, right, and then like you just happen to be talking with somebody, and like let's say, you know, like the more exclusive, you know, places to drop, right, and you know, say that other person is already on it or like really established, then you know when you're already coming to market. And like that even if they're less established, right? But like, let's say they're just like, hey, like I'd really like to come in. If you were originally planning to do like a solo drop, my take would be that like you could split it a little bit less than 50-50 because like I'm the reason why the drop is happening, and like you're kind of coming in a little later, if that makes sense.
On the artist side, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean that's 100%. I think more of it like I'm talking more from the brand side. So if like these brands come in and they're like, here's the situation, and the breakdown's not somewhat of, at least at the beginning, like this is an equal collaboration. I think that's the problem. But yeah, I mean, shit, dude, 100%. I mean, that's how it should be too. The artists themselves should be owning the space. And if you want to do a less of a 50% breakdown, then that's up to you for sure. But from the brand side, I feel like people need to understand that that old way of thinking needs to kind of not come into the space.
It's kind of amazing. It's kind of amazing that like the major case study for NFTs started with like artists, you know, I think, at least in my mind. And that's like put the power, you know, people have said this a million times now, but it's putting the power back into the creators' hands. So now I have like, you know, big, you know, brands / artists coming at me directly for creative instead of going through the middlemen or like the label that has no clue what's going on, or like the creative agency that waters down the creative and gives you next to nothing. And if you mention secondary, you know, if you mentioned royalties or secondary sales, they'd look at you and be like, excuse me, what? So like now we're just, and I personally have always valued working directly with an artist or with a brand direct, you know, and and I've always wanted to cut out the middlemen from the beginning, but sometimes that's just not the reality, you know?
Yeah. I think
in the old world for sure.
Yeah. But now this is the best time. I've told Michael this so many times. I haven't felt this motivated personally to work on new projects in a very long time.
Yeah, my buddy keeps telling me he's gonna unplug me from the Matrix. My life's going too well, so it must be fake. And I'm like, bro, just leave me in. I'm like the dude with like the shitty goatee and in the Matrix, like eating like the steak and like, yeah, it's delicious. Like ignorance is bliss, you know? Like just leave me the fuck in here. Like if this is fake, I don't care. Don't unplug me. Like no, just leave me behind.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Totally good.
Dude,
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh man. It's funny trying to like explain it to people who don't get it yet either. Because they're like, what's an NFT? Why is it important?
Yeah.
What's the value? I can't hold it, da da da. And like I've had that conversation many times. I want to get people into the space and I'm happy to educate. It's just very hard to do when, you know, and it was even tough for me to get it. Like it took me like a week before it clicked, but once it clicks, it's over. Like, so it's just funny. It's like trying to explain it to your parents, right? It's like, nah, like NFT, like the thing. Like, okay, hold on. Before the Beeple drop, my parents didn't. They were like, okay, Mike, sounds good. And like, then my dad saw it on the front page of the New York Times. And he's like, man, like, oh, this kind of stuff you do, right? I'm like, yeah, Dad. Like,
yeah. And then they say, well, why aren't you making $70 million? You know?
wait a second,
Dad. Yeah. I was talking to somebody in the same situation, not a parent, but of that same, you know, generation. Earlier, like old art generation. And my favorite quote from him was, this makes investing in cannabis technology seem like a thing. It like makes it seem normal, you know, like it's totally cool. Like just think about a few years ago when people were investing in like, you know, cannabis companies, be like, wait, what are you doing? You know, but now you say digital art and they're like, what does that even mean? You know, so it's that whole, you know, cycle, I guess.
Yeah, it's a cycle of adoption.
I actually had on a guy
they're trying,
who's growing out in weed California, and like he goes through like the whole breakdown of like how he grows the weed. It's like not, I don't know, organic is such like a tainted word at this point where like it I don't know, but like it's like super high end weed basically, where like it's fertilized correctly, like living root systems, like it's sustainable. They're gonna hire local people from like an area where like it used to just be like logging. There's no more fucking logging, right? It used to be miners too. There's no more mining, right? And so like people are just, it's a very like depressed town on top of that. And so like this is like revitalizing the community, and on top of that it's inland a little bit, so it has none of the issues of mold that like a lot of the rest of California has from humidity from like the ocean. But it's one of those things where like I feel like the NFT space is new, but like I don't think it's gonna take as long as like weed in terms of like catching up, because dude, like we're saying, right, like one day is like fucking 10 years in this shit. Like it's just astronomical how fast everything is going.
I can't wait to see the only things that I look forward to that like in that vein are just like, well, how long is it going to be before like the SEC like, you know, shuts down like the like, you know, gets involved, and you know, what are the tax implications? Like I was reading some estimates about how much in taxes people might have to pay for that $70 million sale, and it's like it could be in the millions in taxes just from one sale. Like
it's a good problem to have. I'd rather pay the tax.
I guess it's a good problem to have. But
he's got to move to Puerto Rico.
that's what Logan Paul's doing. So I'll be there. Let's buy an island, Michael. We'll buy an island in Cayman Island, and we'll be there. Yeah.
I've been wanting to get a boat, so
why can't we just?
It'd be like a 10-foot Boston whaler, which is totally fine with me. That's literally all I want. But I'll live on that on our island.
Yeah. Why can't we just like move? Why can't we just both move to like you know, like a decentralized plot of land? We could just plug in, or just buy some digital real estate and and they'll never see us again.
Tesla internet.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested. I guess I should look more into this, but Wyoming is could be an option, like as a tax haven.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I have no idea from the crypto side of things if that's the same.
You still pay federal. The benefit of Puerto Rico is
Yeah.
you don't pay federal. Yeah.
Interesting.
I went down this rabbit hole.
I know where to find you, Savage.
Yeah, well, Puerto Rico it is.
I've been to Puerto Rico. Yo, the food is phenomenal. The coffee's phenomenal. They pissed off like a bunch of Italians one time because the Pope started drinking Puerto Rican coffee instead of Italian coffee. The ceviche down there is amazing.
Man.
It's fucking sunny year round. You just gotta leave for like a little bit of the hurricane season, and
they never teach you. They never teach you this stuff in the history books, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I highly recommend Puerto Rico. Highly recommend Puerto Rico.
I love it. I love that.
So I want to. We'll try and like hit back into art a little bit just to like close out.
Nah, that's boring, man.
That's boring.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, don't let us go for it.
What's like for you guys, like getting into the space and everything like that? Like, what's like your favorite hobbies that you find to like really motivate you? Like, is it just like because you love concerts that you love shooting and therefore you want to make things? And like, you know, with Mike, like you love like AR, so you love wearing it, or like any other hobbies that like really bring inspiration out?
I mean, I would just say like I love telling stories from different points of view and letting people see behind the curtain and behind the scenes. You know, I think there's so much value to that. Like, think about like all like the endless Netflix documentaries, and now like the Billie Eilish documentary of all the like everything that goes on. So that's the kind of stuff that keeps me going and I'm motivated by it. But I just like that spark of like live, the live element, such a big part of what I do.
I love that. Yeah, for me, it's I have this just like internal constant drive to just do something that no one's ever done before, and it bites me in the ass sometimes because we don't win every time, but you learn a lot along the way from failing, and so that's kind of it with every project that I do. It's I want to do something that no one's ever done before, or or something that is so unique that others can learn from and follow, right? And so like it's kind of like the whole thing with why I'm trying to find a home for AR, for social AR on the NFT side of things, because I want to fuck up so bad if I have to, so that no one else has to. Like there's an entire like community that I have, not that I have, that just exists from the IG and the Snapchat side of AR creators that like want to find a way to monetize their work, their individual work, and enter the NFT space. I think it just comes down to like what's the right way to do it, and I think that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to forge the path in a way. I'm not like, hey, look at me, I'm this like very important pioneer. I'm just more saying like I want to do the things now that other people don't have to, and if that's screwing up, then so be it, because I can just get right back up and keep going. But not everyone's the same, and so yeah, I mean, I think as we all kind of figure this new space out, and in the AR side of things, that's really what drives me is creating this new world and like forging this new path, and that's literally why I'm so excited every day, because it's like, oh shit, like I continue to educate myself within the space and just in general, but like I find out more and more of the capabilities that we can do as artists within the NFT space and on the blockchain side in general. And so like then it just becomes a rabbit hole as to like, oh shit, we could like do this with that, and then holy shit, no one's ever done that before. Like that's so dope. And in the past, that's always been for a client, right? And like that's what I brought to the table. Like I'm maybe not the best artist in the world in some people's eyes, but I would always bring this crazy side to it, right? This crazy idea. And now I get to do that for myself and for whoever I'm working with collaboratively. So it's so exciting, dude. Like,
yeah, big picture, man. Amazing.
And this is I think a lot of people need to realize, a lot of younger, or not younger, but emerging artists in the space, is that this is just the fucking beginning. Like, it feels like you need to rush in, but like, don't do that. This is here to stay. We're not all in this because we think it's just going to be a quick way to make money, or it's going to be gone in a couple months. This is going to be around for a long time. So when you enter the space, find a unique way to do it and take your time. Find the right platform, and literally ingrain yourself within the community. I think that's another thing too that really drives me, is like everyone else. Like, it's the amount of, sometimes it's like you get a little imposter syndrome, but like the community literally drives me, because you can jump on Clubhouse, talk to people who are like-minded, go on Twitter, and see shit that like, people are putting out every day, or the newest drop on Nifty, and you're like, holy shit, man, I'm just so inspired every 2 seconds. So that's kind of what I'm excited about.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's fucking sick. I think so. We just did like an hour and 12. I like to get a little metaphysical, which is like, what do you guys think your purpose is in life?
Some heavy shit right there.
Now I know why Nifty hired you, man.
I'm here
because you asked the deep questions. You asked the real questions.
Oh man,
I respect that.
I don't know, man. I'm still trying to figure that out every day. I think I'm hey, chill out over there, dude. My dog's playing on this one. I think my primary goal is to create, to set examples for others, and honestly be a leader in whatever space I'm at. And I think as long as I can do that and focus on those goals, whatever it may be, I think that's kind of my purpose. I also think my purpose is to break shit, right? Like, I want to break as many things to find out what works, do things people haven't done. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a deep question,
Hell
I mean, shit. What are you here for, Dusty?
I mean, I would agree with a lot of what you said. I feel the same way. It's just, not pigeonholing myself and trying new things, and giving back where I can, and helping the next generation come up. And yeah, breaking things and messing up, and we learn more from our mistakes than anything. So I know I have. So yeah, just and paying it forward for sure. That's a huge thing for me. Giving back, and yeah, everything.
That's sick, bro. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you guys are almost hitting like the quote of like, I didn't figure out how to make a light bulb, but I figured out 1,000 ways not to. And so, if you can figure out 1,000 ways not to, like, that's still pretty good, right? Like, that's helpful. Like that, even if like this isn't, when we're like whatever 60, 80 years old, and like whatever this turns into, it's like, oh, like that started as this, but like now it's like some whole other shit, like that's totally, I mean, it could also just turn into what we were talking about earlier with like the AR, VR, just overlay, and everybody kind of turns into like the movie WALL-E. But, hopefully it's a little more optimistic than that, but whatever. Yeah, dude, I mean, hour and 15, my dog's licking me to go out for a walk. Perfect timing. He just came over. I don't know if you guys saw his bat ears come up over my head like this, but dude, like, thank you guys for the time. I want to run it back, especially like when you guys have like another drop in 6 months to a year, if not, and check in with you guys and see where everything is.
Absolutely. It would be a pleasure, man. We really appreciate your time, and I wish you so much like luck and success with your new endeavors, and at Nifty in New York, and just crushing it. So we can't wait till you're out in LA, or we're in New York for like a live NFT show, or some type of showcase where we can all just bro down and have a beer. So thank you again.
Thanks.
I thought he was a Boston or a New York
guy.
guy.
I am.
Like,
I
am. He asked if I was from Boston because I've got like a Boston Supreme. This company's called The Label. Everybody check them out. But yeah, I was like, oh shit. I hope he doesn't hate Boston guys.
No. You sound like you kind of have like a New York accent on like the vibe though.
Dude, it's all gone. I lived in Connecticut for like 8 years and just screwed everything up.
Now you're stuck with it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Peace.
We'll talk to you later.
Appreciate
Bye.
the time, guys.
All right.
Later.
Thanks, man.